Alright, so I kind of wanted to explain XCOM movement. I've been watching some videos to try and replicate it, and I've watched like Code Monkey and among others, and I've watched other tutorials on the matter. Everyone says to move on a grid, you know, create a grid, make your agents move on a grid. Here's the thing though. Here's the thing. These guys don't move on a grid. They don't. Like, sure, you can click what looks like a grid position, yeah, but these guys don't move on a grid. Here, let me show you something. You see this line right here? It's just a straight line to the point. It's not on no grid. If it was grid movement, like it would be more like, it'd be like something like this, right? Be more like that, or I guess if you want to have a diagonal movement at some point, it'd be like something like that. You know, there'd be some weird like fluctuations because of going from grid tile to grid tile, but no, it's just this. And watch, they just go straight to it. They just go straight to the position. Like, if you want genuine grid movement, you're not doing XCOM, but it takes a lot less time to get movement like this, which is actually very surprising. So let me go into Unity and show you what I have going. So here we are. I have a simple little scene. I got myself a cube with dimensions changed. You know, it's 10 by 0.2 by 10, just to give it a nice little floor look. And what I've done is I've added a nav mesh surface, and you can get that among other things that involve nav meshes by finding the AI navigation package in the Unity registry. And I just, you know, I baked it, and, you know, there we go. So if I were to capture some inputs right now and click on a location and say, hey, go to that location, it would go to it. Now, maybe some of you that are a little bit more intuitive at this point would go, okay, hold on. You have a nav mesh surface. You just said that you're going to capture a click and tell it to go to a position. Well, it's not going to obey a grid at all. It's just going to go to it. Like let's say you have a grid that's, you know, the tiles are 1 by 1. You know, right now, if I were to just click, the player could go anywhere. They could go like, you could end up going to like somewhere like 2.3345, and then like 1.2478. I'm not typing it, but there we go. Like, it's not on a grid. If we were to, you know, grab words, if we were to, you know, set up a like a grid just to see visually where the player is, you know, they'd end up somewhere like this. Like that's not anywhere. That's not anywhere what it would look like in XCOM, and that is where I will explain just a couple lines of code for a script that would capture mouse inputs. Just a couple lines of code where you can turn this, where he is right now, is the 0.23345 and 1.2487 to something more like 1.1. And if we bring up the grid, you know, he'd be there. And then with one extra line, we could offset it, and then we could actually put him into the middle, like in the actual cell, instead of just like on the vertices. So I'm gonna show you the script for it, and it's mind-boggling. I literally came up with this when I was falling asleep at 4 o'clock in the morning, and then I literally woke up to literally got up to do this. But before we go into the script, I'm gonna show you what it actually does. Like, I have the script already made. I'm gonna show you that it actually will take you to the center of grid position. Oh well, maybe if I I can't show it if I don't have a surface. There we go. Re-enable that. Alright, so if I click, he goes here, and then I have a debug that says the grid position that he's going to, quote unquote. It's not really a grid position. You'll find out why when we get into the code, but it fakes it. And honestly, it does the job just fine. So, So now, but that's just the grid position. I actually have a little bit of an offset. So if we come out of here, disable the cube, and go into the grid, you'll see the little grid visual I have going. You'll see that he's actually in the center. That's literally one line of code extra. So yeah, this is just to prove that my script literally, you click, and then he goes to the center of the grid. But it's you don't even use a grid, and it's like 40 lines of code. It's like not even that bad. So here, let me show you. Okay, so here's the script. It takes a nav mesh agent, which is, you know, going to be on the player. It's going to check if you've clicked. It's going to fire array, kind of just typical stuff. If it hits something, check if the hit actually hit somewhere in the nav mesh. And then these 4 lines is where all the money is. So first things first, we're going to want to capture something called a floored position. So what that is basically we're taking each of the what are they called, the spatial components of the vector 3 of the hit of the raycast, and we're basically saying, hey, go to an int, round down to an int. And with this magical operation, you effectively are snapping your click to a whole number, which is perfect. It's so perfect for faking a grid. This all fakes a grid. That's just like the idea here. And then we have an offset vector, mainly because, again, if we just do this, it's the player is going to go to like the vertices of the grid, and you know, maybe you want that. I personally don't. I want him to be in the center of the square, so I offset it by 0.5 on the X and Z axis, and that puts him in the center. And I have a little debug here. I can probably just get rid of that at this point because I know this works. And then we set its destination to the floor position plus the offset vector, and that's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do to have XCOM movement. Like, let's come back in here. Let's do it one more time to make sure, like, you know, maybe it didn't, maybe it like it was just a hoax. Like just click around, really try and confuse this man, and then we come out of here, disable the cube. Great example. Look at this. He's in the center. He's in the center. You don't need no A-star pathfinding. You don't need a custom grid. You don't need nodes. You don't need anything. Embrace navmesh. Embrace one script that's 40 lines. Actually less now because I got rid of the debug statement. Oh my gosh. So yeah, there you go. You're going to want to refine it, of course. So, you know, some limitations I'll show you that you'll have to like iron out on your own. For your own like specific needs. You know, if I were to click outside here, he starts to come off kilter. He starts to come off the he starts to not really go where you probably want him to be. So, you know, yeah, like he tries to get over there, but because the nav mesh is limited, he doesn't entirely reach that point. But anyways, you know, there's a whole bunch of other logic you have to do to get it to work, but like if you're clicking within the nav mesh, like it does exactly what it needs to do. You know, he goes here, boom, pause, disable the cube, turn on the grid, look at that. Anyways, oh dear God, I rambled so much, I'm gonna have to edit this video. Oh my God.